The stories featured in this volume of my docuseries are all true. The identities of those being interviewed have been hidden in order to help prevent retaliation from the other party.
Everyone, put your elbow down here, release it up there, and good follow through. There you go.
A high school freshman learns to perfect their jump shot. A third grader falls asleep to a bedtime story. A kindergartner is learning how to properly brush their teeth. A seventh grader gets some quality time outdoors in the fresh air. An infant learns to walk. These are just a few of the numerous simple moments in a child's life that a majority of parents take for granted. Precious moments that in most cases fathers and in some cases mothers are not allowed to be a part of because they are on the losing end of an adversarial co-parenting relationship. Most of the time, that person on the losing end is the non-custodial parent whom is desperately begging to be given access to their child or children so that they don't miss out on these precious moments. And it is because of that desperation that the other parent has power over them. I call this the power of access. It is this power that the state governments and divorce attorneys on both sides earn billions of dollars in profit every year by being both the instigator and referee of the fight to be awarded control of access to the children and thus being in the position of power. I've heard far too many stories about someone who's been victimized by the other parent abusing that power. Stories like this man from Lafayette, who had a long-standing verbal agreement with his ex-wife regarding the visitation of their daughter, only for her one day at the last minute to tell him that she would no longer be honoring that agreement because she was moving to New Orleans to be closer to her boyfriend.
Here. So I mean, it was nothing set in place. So you go from every other day to not knowing. There was no thing in place. I remember when the crazy story, when I dropped her off to go, like the last time whenever she was gonna be moving, like on the way back to my apartment, I cried my eyes out. I had to call one of my friends. I was crying so much because I sat in my apartment. It's like it was dark. I'm like, I don't know what to do. And just literally nothing because that my daughter was my life. So now it's me telling me that I don't have anything, and she's not here, and I don't know when I'm gonna see her again, and she's in New Orleans, which I don't know anything about that place. I was devastated. I don't know what to do. But
There are a lot of men who found themselves in this exact situation, all because they didn't have a court order in place and thus no legally binding guarantee of visitation. And the sad thing is that a lot of these fathers make the conscious decision not to involve the family court because the family court has such a bad reputation of handing out rulings that are so lopsided and biased in favor of the mother and in no way in the best interest of their children. So in turn, those men get accused of not wanting to spend time with their children, and it's said that they are failing to properly care for those children. But the fact is, the family court is failing to properly care for those fathers' rights as a parent. In staying on the subject matter of the family court failing to protect a father's rights, I will close this video out by giving you, the viewer, a small glimpse into my personal story and one of the times when I was denied access to my children. This story goes back to 2009 when I was attempting to get a court order set in place that would not only be putting myself on child support, but would also give me a set visitation schedule for my daughter. I would make the mistake of telling my daughter's mother that I'd hired an attorney to get the process started. She would respond by first breaking our verbal agreement that I could come see our daughter every day after work. Then she would completely deny me all access, not even let me see our daughter. Then, without warning, she up and left town and left no forwarding address. Now, a key fact in this story is that by Texas law, the process that would give a father all rights as a parent can't begin until that father serves the mother in person. In order to do that, that father needs a valid address.
That you will not give me your address, that is fine, but I will tell you this. Texas Family Code, Chapter 42, Civil Liability for Interference with Possessory Interest in Child. 42.002, liability for possessory right. A person who takes or retains possession of a child or who conceals the whereabouts of a child in violation of possessory right of another person may be liable for damages to that person. You are right now, you have retained possession. You have concealed the whereabouts of a person. You will not give me an address where person is staying. Which it says is a violation.
Okay, and can you go back to the part where has no legal father right now?
Well, seeing that you have said I am the legal father, or I am the father.
Not the legal father. Doesn't have a father right now.
Oh, okay. So that's why you won't go to court, because then I would be the legal father, and then all of these things would apply. So right now, since I am not the legal father, you can do whatever you want to, and I can't do anything about it. That's what you're telling me?
That is true. I can do whatever I want to right now. You can't do anything about it, but I'm not doing that. That is true. I can do whatever I want to right now. You can't do anything about it, but I'm not doing that.
Oh, you're not doing it for real? Then what are you doing?
I'm not doing anything.
What are your reasons for concealing the whereabouts of my daughter?
I'm not concealing anything.
Okay, then what is the address where you're at?
I'm not giving you the address. It's not.
Okay, well then that's concealing the whereabouts. Seeing that you say,
The sad thing is, she was absolutely right. Our daughter had no legal father at that point in time. Despite having a paternity test that showed I was the father, despite the mother agreeing that the blood test results were accurate, because the test was not conducted by the family court during an active lawsuit, the results were null and void, and I was not legally declared as the father. Thus, I had no rights as a parent. And because I had no legal rights as a parent, there was no penalty for my daughter's mother taking our child across multiple state lines and hiding her location from me somewhere in the Detroit metropolitan area. And because she never gave me her address in Detroit, it would be a full 6 months before a judge would force her to move back to Houston and I would be granted visitation rights. It just goes to show you how easily the family court can be manipulated. And the worst part about this is that this behavior affects the children far more than the family court and those guilty parents realize or will even admit to. But it's usually deemed as being acceptable behavior depending on the situation. For example, a husband gets caught cheating, so the wife takes the kids and leaves them. Or you have situations where one person is interfering with the other parent's visitation time because they are upset that they have moved on and started a new relationship. Are there times when a parent being denied access to their children is for the children's best interest? Absolutely. But that's not what this video is about. This video series is about those parents who make a game out of denying their ex access to the children. Parents who use their kids as pawns and are making premeditated moves based on their in-depth knowledge of the loopholes in the family court system. My hope is that this docuseries will raise enough awareness about the power of access that guilty parents will change their ways, family court officials will amend their laws, and those who continue to follow their own selfish agenda will eventually be held accountable for their actions.